Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power of Man podcast. My name is Rory Paquette. I am, as always, your very grateful host. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be talking to this fantastic guy across from me. Grateful to have all of you folks listening. If you're not out there listening, I'm not over here talking. So very, very grateful for all that. We got a great guy today who's he's a serviceman. And he has a different kind of take on his service from a lot of the guys that we've had on here and that I've talked to before. I think you're going to really enjoy it. I think you're going to appreciate the different viewpoint on this fascinating individual. He's coming up here in just a minute. If you're a friend of the program, and I know you are, well, you know what we have to do next. We've got to pay a couple bills. So we have to take a quick sip of our preferred beverage. Man, good every time. Deep, dark, rich, bold, and beautiful, just like my wife. Freedom Hill Coffee, folks, at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. They do all the right things for all the right reasons. They brew a mean bean. It's an awesome cup of joe. And they support veterans, which is why we support them. And you know how important that is to us on this show. And we happen to have one active duty with us today. So that's all very, very fitting. It's all pulling together beautifully. Look them up on Instagram at Freedom Hill Coffee. Tell them Power of Man sent you. You will not be sorry. Now, let's get to our service guy today. Senior airman with the Air Force, active duty medic, and mindset and fitness coach, sharing his gifts and telling his story. Please welcome to the program, Carson Berkhimer. Carson, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, Rory.
Oh, it's an
I'm
absolute
excited to get this
pleasure.
going.
Yeah, you told me that this was your first time ever being interviewed on something like this.
Yes, sir. First one.
I love it. I'm honored that you would come on here first. I really am. We take care of veterans here, man.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Now you've been through a lot. And usually when I say that about someone who's been in the service, it's their service, their deployment, was part of the thing that may have hindered them or given them some obstacles to overcome. I think you have some of those, of course, but you actually credit your deployment with helping you out. So as you get into your story, why don't you start with, who's Carson? Tell us a little bit about you and why you're here.
Absolutely. So I am currently an active duty medic down here in Texas with the Air Force. I have deployment experience and, through the course of my job coming into the military at, 18 years old, you don't expect to see some of the things you'd see in the medical field, and some of that stuff kind of caught me off guard. So, been through the ringer mentally and emotionally through different parts of my job, through the deployment, through, drinking. Like we've been down low, but we'll get into how that allowed me to kind of soar up high.
Got it. Got it. Well, I mean, drinking is not necessarily something that's rare for guys who are, serving their country and working that hard and everything else. It's almost part of the culture, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. And I think we got to try and break that culture.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, at some point you got to take the
Oh
edge
yeah.
off somehow. You guys are going through hell over there. But now where were you deployed? What, if you can say that? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. So I was deployed to a FOB out in West Africa that's now shut down.
okay.
And that's what some of the stressors around that were that we were supposed to be there 6 months and things ended up taking out closer to 8 months. And we had trouble with getting supplies and different things there. So, it was a little unique situation that was causing unique stressors because everybody had things going on back home and, vacations and parents and grandparents to see. But, we were stuck. So it got stressful. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand. I understand. Now you had some other stressors going on. I mean, you told me you were like 6'8" to start with, and you're a pretty
Yes,
heavy
sir.
guy on top of that, right? So you're not a little dude.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what were you
Oh,
weighing? What were you weighing when you were serving when you started?
yeah. So I started in the military at about 215 actually, and then over the course of the last few years, the drinking, the kind of neglecting everything, I got up to about 250 on deployment. I was at about 260, and I got back, lost 40 pounds, and I'm back down to 220 and feeling better than I've ever felt.
Wow, man. And I know that along the way you've overcome some other adversity besides, yeah, besides the weight. I mean, you've overcome some other things that you had to deal with. Do you want to talk about those at all?
Yeah, we can. So, you know, coming into the medical field, my job stateside is usually a medical technician, and at my base, I'm just in an outpatient clinic. So, nothing too crazy, just kind of taking care of the day-to-day stuff. So, in our tech school, though, I just happened to get lucky and I got to go work in an ER. Well, at 18 years old, I was kind of already thinking, oh, I'm just going to go be a med tech. It'll be nice and chill. And then, you see things that go on in an ER and yeah, and I wasn't expecting that stuff. So trying to cope with that stuff at like 18 years old became pretty difficult. And yeah, so between that and the stressors of the deployment and just life in general, being away from home and that military life in general gets to you a little bit.
Sure. Now, you mentioned to me in our pre-interview that adversity is not a bad thing.
Absolutely not.
Right.
So
Tell me
I
about
think
that.
it's one of the best things that could happen.
And why is
Yeah.
that? Why is that?
So, so yeah, I would say this stuff was awesome to happen to me. Like we were talking a little bit before, I credit this deployment as the reason I'm thriving now. So I beforehand was trying to lose that weight, trying to get in shape. I couldn't really stick with the diet, wasn't really doing much. I was doing some side hustles, but nothing was, going crazy well for me. But I go to the deployment, go through those, see more real problems, and then I come back and I lost the 40 pounds. I was really able to stick with the diet well, had that early wake up. I've been fully sober for about a year now. I bought a house and I'm renting it out to two of my friends that I'm also in the service with. And that adversity was what gave me that perspective. And I've really been able to thrive off of that.
That's awesome. Now, do you credit, and you said you credit the deployment for being able to handle all those things. What was it about the deployment? Was it just the physical activity, or was it some sort of discipline that you were bringing into your life by being out there? What was it about the deployment that enabled you to kick this into a different gear and just really start improving yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been an athlete, and I'm backwoods Pennsylvania is where I'm from. So doing yard work, hunting, being out there. No stranger to physical activity, but like you said, it was the mental game of not being able to be home and not knowing when we're going to be able to be home. When my mom would be able to get a hold of me, it's like I don't know what to tell her. Like that's a hard thing to be able to do and have to think about. And it was the mental game and having to just sit there and take it day by day because after that 6 months when we were supposed to be gone and we still had that time to go, we didn't have answers. We didn't know it was going to be 2 months. We were told it could be, a day or two or a week or another few months. So we kind of really just had to take it day by day and just take care of ourselves and everybody around us upstairs. And that kind of taught me to take it day by day, to break the things down, slow it up, don't focus on, that long vision, kind of handle what we got in the moment, the present.
So have you taken a course on this or anything, or are you actually self-taught on how to work through handling your mindset in this situation?
So I'll say in the situation, I was relatively self-taught. I have a few friends of mine that are pretty high-level mentors in different areas that, were helping me while I was out there when I was able to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
But now that I'm back, I'm seeing a psychologist to help work through that stuff, which I believe is a great thing for anybody out there struggling with these things. But yeah, I would say I had mentors and psychologists, and I pulled kind of what I needed from all those different people for what worked for me. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do now, giving
Yeah.
back to people that maybe need exposed to some of those concepts.
That's great. I want to applaud you because it actually takes a very it takes a level of courage to come on a program and say, I'm seeing a psychologist, I'm dealing with my issues, so on and so forth, because there's such a stigma around men's mental health. It's like as soon as you admit that there's anything wrong, then the curtains come down and everybody's just, losing their minds. Did you find it difficult to admit that to yourself and say, "Hey, I need to go get a little bit of help," from a psychologist, for instance, because I want to make myself better, not because I'm broken, but because I want to be better than I am.
A little bit, because there's a little bit of that culture of, oh, if you just get more money or get a six pack or get, whatever, it'll all be good. You'll be happy. And so, I lost the weight. I got a six pack. I was working on that stuff, and it feels good to get that result. But then as soon as you get it, it's on to the next thing. So it kind of came into my head. It was like the idea of, if you can have all the abs and all the money you want, but it was like, if you can't sit with your own thoughts for 15 minutes without getting stressed out, then what does that really matter? So I kind of came to a realization that I needed to put a lot more effort into fixing that and sitting with these thoughts and feeling what I needed to feel to be able to work through that stuff to move forward.
That's awesome. And so you started seeing a psychologist, and now at first was it kind of tough to get in there, or was it something that when you started you felt pretty good doing because you made the decision?
I would say once I made the decision, I felt pretty good, because some of the people around me, I was lashing out. I was pretty angry, like at very little things when I came back, and I felt it, but it took some of my friends and coworkers saying to me, hey, you should probably go take a look at that. And at first in my head, I was kind of like, oh no, I'll just, do more of my side hustles, get more results. And, that wasn't the answer. It's always, working on the internal stuff. You can get more results. We're meant to be abundant, but we also got to take care of what's up here. So once that decision was made, it was pretty easy. And I honestly really look forward to the appointments now with the psychologist, because he helps challenge some of those beliefs. And I know he's making those decisions for my best interest.
That's great. I mean, I love that. It seems like you're very well adjusted to the idea, which and maybe it's because you're younger. You younger guys don't have as many hangups as us old dudes. But you mind me asking, how old are you? You look like you're 25.
I'm 21, Rory.
Oh, okay. And that's the end of the interview, folks. Everybody have a nice day. Thanks for coming. You've been through all this and you're 21 years old.
Yes, sir. Turning 22 next month.
Well, happy early birthday. But wow, you've handled a lot at a young age then, also, in addition to everything else you've dealt with. So, congratulations. You are ahead of the game and you
Thank
already
you.
own a house.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's beautiful. You've mentioned your side hustles a couple of times. Tell me what those are. I mean, what kind of things have you had going outside of being active duty, medic, military?
Yeah, so when the COVID era hit, I'll start from the beginning with this stuff. When the COVID
Yeah.
era hit, I was finishing up high school, and I still had a few of these mentors. I met them through social media, and I began day trading, stock option contracts and futures, and I got pretty decent at that. So I was trying to do that through my, technical training for my job here, but I kind of realized that the schedule wasn't going to work with this stuff. So I was trying to find what the deal was. So I went through trading, I tried getting into sales, and that worked a little bit better. It was a little bit more fluid, but I wanted to find something that really resonated with me. And once I lost this weight, got sober, made all the changes that led me to where I'm at right now, I actually helped a couple of people do that just for free, that actually applied the knowledge. And I mean, they send me like testimonials, or they'll check back in and say, hey, look, and send me progress pictures. They tell me about some mental connection they've made. And I mean, it'll put tears in my eyes. And that's like the most meaningful thing I could have. And I realized as soon as that happened, I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to go all in on this. And so I dropped the other stuff, and full-time fitness and mindset coach now, for the side hustles once I'm still in the military for now, though.
No, no, for sure, for sure. So, I mean, starting off with a side hustle is admirable. That period. I'm always counseling guys in our private groups and stuff. If you can find a way to start one while you have your other job going, everything else, that's the best way to do it. Even though it's a lot of work, because if you open up your side hustle and all of a sudden you have to pay your mortgage and all your bills on it, the pressure to get that thing going is insane. So I'm sure you're nodding, going, yeah, huh? So how long have you been doing the side hustle? Since before COVID, the side hustle's been around?
Various of the side hustles. Yeah, I started with the day trading, and then I'd say probably in 2022 moved into the
Ah,
sales, did that for a little bit, and then kind of evolved into this, and now, just doing the mindset coaching and the fitness coaching. And I've been doing that intermittently for about a year and a half now, but I've been going more heavy on that since I got back, which was this last summer.
that's great. That's great. So, tell me more about that business then. This is your main side hustle now. And are you trying to grow
Yeah.
this into being your full-time thing for sure then, and when you're done with the military?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the
If
intent.
I could do this for the rest of my life, that's it. I love this.
Well, then tell everybody a little bit more about that. What do you do exactly? How do you do it? Is it online, in person? Anything else you can tell folks who might be interested in looking you up?
Absolutely. So it's online. So there's three big things that I like to go over and handle. So I will give macros and a diet breakdown and show how that's done. Two, I give the workout programs and kind of show you how to do it because, that's the analogy. If you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day, but you teach him to fish, he'll be fed for a lifetime. So I like to teach that stuff and do the online fitness coaching thing. But my personal twist is the mindset coaching. We'll go on an hour long call a week and we'll just talk and we'll break down things that people are struggling with and kind of help them do the mental gymnastics they have to do to see the light at the end of that tunnel, to kind of know what they need to do to become stronger. If I had somebody to show me, like before I met the psychologist, my deployment, all those things that I was stuck in my head about, if I had somebody to show me how to do those mental gymnastics, I could be even further ahead than I am now. So if I could teach these people the fitness, the nutrition, and give them help with whatever they're struggling with, that'll help them apply that more as well. So those three pillars I found are the most beneficial and they all complement each other when they're applied properly.
That's an interesting, comprehensive approach. So, all right. So you hit all of those. Do you run this entire thing through your Instagram account at this point?
So I post on various accounts, but yes, that would be the best way to get a hold of me because I'm trying to really centralize it on my Instagram. So
Okay.
yeah.
So is it one-on-one coaching? Do you do group stuff?
So all of the fitness and nutrition stuff is one-on-one. It's all personalized to them. And then the mindset calls, I like to do those in a group setting because it's a lot of Q&A, a lot of give and take. So a lot of people may have the same questions, and it also gives a sense of community for some of these people that, may just be getting into the gym and struggling with, more common problems. That way they have a sense of community and can reach out to each other. And it's not just, me telling them, hey, here's what you should do. That way they kind of have people going through it with them.
Awesome. Do you do any like in-person stuff for people who are like, near you or in your area location?
So I don't at this moment. I do show some people at the gym just some basic stuff. I mean, I would do a lot of in-person stuff if I could. I love in-person interactions, but yeah, most of my reach is, through mostly America online, but I'll help anybody that comes through the Instagram.
And that's awesome. All right. So it's online coaching. It's one-on-one. The mindset stuff is in group. That's awesome. And then the mindset stuff, I think you said weekly calls. So that's a once a week a group call? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Once a
All right.
week, just whatever works best for everybody's schedules.
Cool, cool. All right, great. Do you have multiple programs that you offer to people, or is it pretty much like this is the program, this is what we do?
So it's pretty set in stone. That's what we do because my target audience would be really anybody going through anything, but it seems to resonate most with those people that are just trying to get into the gym that have been grinding, going to the gym, but aren't really seeing the results and are kind of frustrated with that. So I can give them that blueprint. And it's pretty universal to everybody. I'll help give them the numbers for the diet. I'll show them how to do this stuff to get the results. But then that mindset stuff, taking care of what's up here, is going to help them apply that and stick with that so that they don't just, quit after a week or two of not seeing the results. That way they can be happy and take pride in that day to day process.
I like it. Do you find that most people kind of have an idea of, what quote mindset is about, or are you speaking Greek to some people when they come in, like, hey, what do you mean by mindset? I don't understand.
I think it's a little bit of speaking Greek sometimes because I think the mindset training sometimes gets a bad rap. They see the all the alpha male stuff and just push harder, just going for results, but that's not what it is because again, if you're just focused on results, you're going to have little windows of happiness where you hit those goals, but this is about building that routine and building yourself internally too and taking, when you have to restrict your diet a little bit to try and lose weight, taking pride in that, reflecting on that, building your mind to be able to use that self discipline in other areas of your life. Like for me, being able to get this house and stick through the stress and be able to see the outcome and put my short term pleasure aside in pursuit of something better for my life in the future.
Oh, all right. Love that. Love that. Now, let me get off this for a minute, and I just want to branch into something else you just mentioned because we've talked about the house a couple of times. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, so I'm just going to go off script a little bit here. You own the house. Do you live in the house too?
Yes, I own it and live in it.
So you're living in it, and you're renting it out to two other guys also. So are
Yes,
you
sir.
living for free at this point? Is that the plan? Like they're paying the mortgage, and you're there, and that's your investment plan.
They got the mortgage. My BAH goes into utilities, but I am cash flowing a couple $100 a month. But I just roll that back into a basically an emergency fund for the house, just to make sure, if anything happens, that these guys are taken care of. That way, I'm
Right.
not, being neglectful or anything. That way, I can take care of everything.
No, of course. That's great. I mean, that's actually a really cool business model, especially for a young guy, who doesn't have a wife and kids and everything else to worry
So,
about yet. So,
yes,
do you have
sir.
plans on additional real estate investing? Is this something where you feel a little passion for that, or is this just, hey, it's taking care of me right now. I'm going to do this right now, and then, let me get back to the gym.
No, it's something I do like for sure because you can roll that VA loan. So I want to be doing this more in the future. And once I realized that this worked, a few friends that were, moving off base as we were progressing through the ranks of, lower enlisted, I've kind of pushed a few of my friends to do this because as long as you have a little bit of money saved up for an emergency fund and to furnish a place, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And there's two of my friends actually moved in right down the street in brand new builds as well. And it's starting to become a thing at this base. And I'm really happy because it's such a good investment into your future.
And that's because of you, because you started this whole thing.
One of them kind of went and did it on his own, but the other ones I have been pushing and kind of showing because it's tough to conceptualize until you break it down and show, you get a little bit of the BH from them, but they keep some of their money. So, it's a win-win for tenants and me. That's a mutually beneficial relationship. And
Sure.
I was like, you're not, hurting anybody. That's a better situation for everybody. So showing those people kind of how to get in it. And I gave them the realtor that I used. He's a really good guy. And, basically just hooked him up from A to Z.
That's awesome. All right, so you got that going on. That may turn into something for you. You got the side hustle that's turning into a business for you in terms of the coaching, the mindset, and the physical coaching. That's great. You're still actively enlisted.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So you're doing all this with your day, and that's wonderful. That's a lot. And I know there's guys out there right now going, yeah, if I was 21 and didn't have all these responsibilities, I could do that too. But that has to take a lot of organization and efficiency and sort of handling the chaos, mentally on your part to be able to get through all that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is that where the
So
psychologist comes in? Does she help you with that kind of thing?
So for the psychologist part, we are really focused on just working through the PTSD type stuff. And I kind of take care of myself now that I have these mental tools. So, just to give you a little sneak peek at my day, I wake up at 3 a.m. every day, go hit the gym, post a little bit of gym content. I come back, I get a nice meditation. I'll just sit quietly, eyes closed, dark room. I'll have my sound canceling headphones on, just let thoughts come through. And then I usually get good connections, can process any thoughts I have. Then I make breakfast, get ready, go to work. And then I come back and kind of handle more back end stuff for the social media or anything with the house. And you know, I have ADHD, but I don't like to call it that because I see that as a hurdle. If I call it like, PTSD too, if I call that a disorder, I'm limiting myself then. I'm putting that on me as a person versus I see this PTSD thing as a thing that I should get through. It's just a hurdle. It's just, a hurdle that if I get through, I'll be stronger on the other side. Same with the ADHD, okay, I'm having trouble concentrating. And like you said, it's a very busy day, a lot of things happening. It's like, okay, well, that should be a hurdle now. How do we organize and not get lost in the sauce? And for me, it's a notes app. Like I do a to-do list and I just one thing after another and it's in order of priority of things that absolutely need done today, going first.
Now that's some pretty good time management tips right there. So you make the to-do list, but then you prioritize it in order of, what has to be done, what's most urgent.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Interesting. And that obviously works for you because you're juggling a lot here, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. The what now how long have you been in the military? Like, are you near the end of your service time, or did you re-up again? What's your future look like there?
So I'm coming up on the end. I came in November of 2021 and I will be separating November here of 2025.
Oh,
So I'm about 3.5 years in or so. And yeah, I'm coming up on my 4 year mark. I signed a 4 year contract, so I'll be making my separation here in a few months.
okay. I mean, you're on the air now, so it's decision time, brother. What are your plans? You plan on staying with it, or are you heading out and joining the gym? What's going on?
So I'm probably going to be heading out, separating, getting that stuff done, and then I ideally want to do this full time. And I will say too, I love medicine. I love emergency medicine, and so I want to take a little break from that because I've been doing it for 3.5 years straight. But I also haven't taken much leave, so towards the end here, I'll be out a lot. But I want to go do some kind of paramedic or part-time paramedic gig, something that may not pay as much as I want, but something that I'm truly passionate about and love, and be able to juggle that as well as the coaching. And through that, I'm passionate about emergency medicine. I'm passionate about helping people through social media. That's a fulfilled life to me. So,
That's fantastic. So that's kind of the plan moving forward. You're done with the military. Congratulations ahead of time. That's
so
wonderful. Um,
thank you.
what do you think it's going to be like letting go of the military after all this time, especially since you give your deployment credit for a lot of good things in your life? What are you anticipating that's going to be like for you?
I think it's going to be bittersweet. So, I mean, like you said, the deployment, the military as a whole has built me so much as a person, and I've met so many awesome people, some of the hardest hustlers I've ever met, people that look out for those around them. It's been amazing. And at the same time, military life is a little bit harder. We have more rules to follow. The deployment was tough. So I'm looking forward to kind of having some of that stuff taken off. So I see both sides, but overall, I'm really excited for the next level. But if I were to go back, I'd sign up again and I'd do this all again in a heartbeat.
I love hearing that. I really do. It's a success story for enlisting in the military, and we don't have nearly enough of those in this world, to be honest. So, I think that's great that you feel that way.
Thank you.
So yeah, congrats on that. I talked to a lot of veterans, and one of the things these guys say almost to a man is, when you say, "Hey, is there anything you miss about the military?" Most of them are glad they're out. The harder parts are a little easier to live without. Especially when the guys who have been deployed, and they're like, "Hey, you don't know what it's like
Yeah.
living in these conditions." So I mean, I get it. But when you ask them, is there anything you miss? To a man, they're like, I miss the Brotherhood. I miss the guys. You anticipate feeling the same way, or is there something else you
I'm
think you might actually miss more?
I think it'll be missing that because, through the deployment and that unique situation, I have a unique family that was out there that, I'll never be able to have again. And I kind of miss them, even being here because I'm the only one from my base that went out there. That's how they were doing deployments at the time. So we all kind of came together from different bases all over the states. And then when it was time to leave the deployment, we all went back to our bases. So, I had all these crazy experiences and tough times that I went through with all these people, and then came back to my base where, none of my people were there. And so I kind of felt a little bit of that. And it was tough for a while. And we still check in and make sure we're all doing good. That's going to be a family for life, just as I anticipate when I get out, my people here at the base in Texas are going to be my family for life because we went through, different types of struggles, the stateside life, still military rules. So
Right
going
on.
through it together.
Let me put you on the spot a little bit. I think you can handle it. You're a tough guy. I can tell.
Yeah.
The younger guys, guys who are 17, 18, they're getting out of high school. They're trying to figure out, what do I do now? Some people have that collegiate path all set up for them. More and more today, we're finding that that isn't just the automatic path for people, and they have to kind of figure out where they're going to go. Military, trade school, what are we going to do? And, go to work full time. Do you, number one, recommend the military? Okay, for, a younger guy coming out of high school. And number two, how would you tell them to kind of qualify it? Like what do they need to be looking for to be right for the military to be right for them and for them to be right for the military?
Okay. So I would definitely recommend the military first off. So it's like I said, you want to seek that adversity. You want to become more, you need to go through more. And no superhero was ever made by living a easy life of partying in college or something. And not knocking people that go to college or anything. I personally, I never went to college on the civilian side, so I can't speak on that. But I will say living by tighter rules and actually following the rules and making the most of that stuff, you get set up for life. I mean, you get veteran status. And how I came in, I was looking at engineering, medical. I looked at like so many different things and could not figure it out. And then I eventually realized I was settled on medical, but I could not figure out doctor, PA, paramedic. I didn't know which field I liked. So I saw the job I'm in now, and I was like, if I could get that, kind of be around all those people, figure out what I want to be, have that better sense of direction. And then when I'm done with my service, be a veteran, have all the schooling paid for, and have all those experiences and the people that we were just talking about. And that's exactly what happened. But, not everybody takes advantage of the stuff. So to those out there that may be hearing this, you have to take advantage of the stuff. You may be at a base you don't like or something, but no, it's temporary. Just go through the stuff with your people. Like enjoy your service because it's not going to be forever. I promise it goes by in the blink of an eye.
That might be the best military, commercial like promo I've ever heard from anybody. That's awesome that you feel that way and that you just endorsed that whole thing. So thank you for handling that question that way, man. That was pretty good.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's good. All right, let's we can kind of start wrapping this up a little bit. I appreciate that you came on here to tell your story. That's huge. To be brave enough to say, hey, I'm somebody who needs a little bit of help. I'm getting it. Here's the good part. You've talked glowingly about the military, which I personally appreciate because we don't have enough of that. And I think that's great. And you've just introduced, thousands of people, frankly, to a young man who's going to be making a lot of noise in the scene, I think, and that we're going to find on Instagram a lot, probably, with what you're doing, because I just don't see you failing at anything, brother. Really don't. And I'm incredibly impressed with you as a human being. Thank you for coming on today, man.
I appreciate the opportunity, Rory. This was an awesome conversation. I'm glad we could give some exchange of value.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to hit you with one last thing. One last thing.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Anybody out there dealing with adversity of any kind, what's one piece of advice you would give them, no matter where it is in their life, when they're sitting there and their first thought is, why me? Can't believe this is happening. What's one of the first things you're going to tell people? What's one good piece of advice to get them at least started going down a positive road from, being knocked down?
Absolutely. So I would say this adversity happened. You can't take it back. So there's two things that can happen. You can either sit there and let it break you, or you can let it build you into something more. You can make good out of this situation. And the only way you're going to be able to make good out of this situation is by sitting in it and feeling it. If you just went through a breakup or something, do not numb that with drugs or alcohol, or do not go do these negative things that numb that pain. You need to feel that pain, be able to sit with it, process it, go to the gym, do these positive things that allow you to take that pain, learn the lessons that you were meant to learn, and be built into more. Adversity is always going to happen. One of my favorite quotes is something along the lines of, you can dance in the rain or you can sulk in the rain, but regardless, it's raining. So that would be my answer, Rory.
That's awesome. That was beautiful. I mean, that's a mic drop right there, frankly. Beautiful. Way to go. How do people find Carson Berkheimer if they want to look you up, if they want to ask you questions, if they want to work with you on mindset or physical fitness? How do they find you, man?
Absolutely. I would say go to my Instagram, Carson.Berkheimer. You can just look up my name and it'll come up. All my social medias are the same, though: TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all of them are the same. But if you're going to try and talk to me, hit me up on Instagram.
Awesome. So we'll have all that in the show notes, with the actual addresses and the whole bit, so that everybody knows how to reach you. Man, thank you. I knew you had that one thing in you that you wanted to leave with everybody. I could just see it. That was great. Great ending. Uh, Carson, thanks for coming on the program, man.
Thanks for having me, Rory. This was awesome.
Appreciate it. Folks, this has been another episode of the Power Man Podcast. I love bringing on powerful people like this, especially when we have an opportunity to bring on powerful young people who are setting examples and changing their lives and really building their futures. We need people like Carson out there leading this next generation and not just sitting there blaming everybody else and being a part of the chaos. So the reason we bring powerful people like this onto the program is because if people like Carson can overcome what they've overcome and they can find a path like they're on, so can you. And it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in. You just have to decide that you want more. And when you do, good things happen. And this young man's already proven that with every single step that he's taken. Folks, you're worth it. You got to believe it. Until next time.